Hello, everybody. It is Lanissa and Kate, and we're coming at you with another episode of What's Hot and What's Not for Physician Liaisons and Referral Networks. And today we are talking about the elusive close. And so many of you, if you've been in sales for any length of time, you've heard the ABC, always be closing. And if you've heard
Coffees for closers.
what was that?
I was like, coffees for closers.
Oh, yeah. So, if you've heard that before, you've got some thoughts about that, whether they're really good thoughts about that or they're really bad thoughts about that. But we want to talk today about the always be closing, and it may not be what you think it is. So what's hot today actually is the ABC, always be closing. But we want to talk about what that looks like, what that means for you, and how you can make that authentic for you in your field visits. So for me, when I first started in this business a long time ago, we were taught, a very, very specific approach to closing. It was a very, very hardcore close. And on the first time that you were in a doctor's office, it might be the first time you met them and their staff, and whether you got 30 seconds or 30 minutes with them, you're going to ask, for the next 10 patients to use my product. And it might have been 2 or 3 patients or 5 or whatever, but the next 10 patients, will you use my product for the next 10 patients? And so it was a very aggressive close. And, I don't know about you, but for me, if somebody were to call me and say, hey, do this for me, and I don't even know them from Adam, it's not going to go over very well. Yeah. So it's not going to work for me. And it felt really awkward and uncomfortable for me. If you've watched any of these videos before, you may have heard me tell this story because it's part of my journey. So always be closing. What does that mean? What does that look like? And Kate, I have thoughts about this, but I like a lot of your approach and thoughts around closing and how you use kind of this ABC, always be closing model and approach in your sales style. So I'd love for you to share that with us.
Yeah, well, I'm with you that the hard close sometimes just feels wrong, especially 30 seconds. Come on. Yeah, that's all you could say.
Right,
so,
exactly. Next 10 patients, please. I'm out.
Exactly. They don't even know what it's for.
Right. Yeah.
But I think that if you can reframe always be closing to maybe always be calling to action, or think about it like that in your mind, what you're going to ask for. And we sometimes go in with like a preset close that we're looking for, and we're trying to get there in that call. And sometimes all the stars align and you get that, and you can ask for those next 5 patients that need X, and it's beautiful and it just works so well. And you can go put it in your call notes, like we close the next 5 patients. Yes, killing it. And then other times it just doesn't, right? Whether you couldn't get all the information that you wanted to out there, they're still not buying what you're selling. They're still on the fence. Then you can look at the close as moving the dial forward in another way. So whether that is deepening the relationship, hey, maybe the close is, we didn't get to everything today, but it sounds like, we can really partner with you to help solve some of these issues that you're having. Let's schedule a lunch. And that's the close, that they committed to meeting you again for lunch, right? Or maybe it's one of those calls where you didn't even get to talk with the doctor. So you're doing that total office call. Can you still close with the receptionist? Absolutely. When I sold contact lenses, we talked a lot about how receptionists would say, oh, you're wanting to schedule an appointment. Is that for glasses or contacts? And so the close for me was just like, hey, can you just say, did you want to do that for glasses and contacts? One word change was the close, right? Or maybe the close is a dinner meeting, or maybe the close is them coming to visit your office to see where their patients are going. The close doesn't have to be the next 10 patients. I think that's the ideal. If it's out there, don't leave it on the table. Don't walk away from them. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But reframe close into what's the call to action. we're not information givers. If you're a sales rep, you're not an informative speaker. You're not an infomercial. You have a ton of information, but you need to be persuasive with that. And with any persuasion comes a call to action. So what is it? Is it patience? Is it lunch? Is it another meeting? Is it rearranging something in their office? Is it bringing in a poster? There's got to be a next step. And that moves not only your product adaptation or your patient referrals, but it also moves your relationship at the same time. So that is the C for always be closing.
That's right. So if you're always being closing or calling to action, and that's hot, what's not hot is skipping that close or skipping that call to action. And
Right.
I have seen just recently on a call, going into an office, and the call was amazing and went really well. And the doctors were ready to make the move in the next step. And the call didn't progress. And the reason why is because the person that I was with, the person that I was coaching, wanted a little bit more time to build that know, like, and trust, which is completely respectable and honorable. You have to build that know, like, and trust. But the thing is, they had done it. They were successful. And
You did it.
they did it. All they needed to do was close and ask for the business. So
Yeah.
that is one of the things why it's important to always ABC, always be closing or always be calling to action. Don't skip that close. Don't skip that step. And so even if that's not the next 10 patients, like I was trained, exactly like Kate said, like, what is that next call to action? But don't skip that, because you're skipping the opportunity when you skip that to move that relationship forward in some way. And missing that opportunity when you get to that point to actually, have them, refer you a patient or use your product. And so you're missing those opportunities.
One thing I want to add, just, we use know, like, and trust a lot. And that's what that person wanted to do a little bit more of. So they didn't ask for a close, but ironically, calling to action actually builds on your know, like, and trust, right? You have a reason to come back again. You have a next layer, so that every time you're meeting with this office, you're leveling up. You're not just starting over at a conversational, start. You're building on what you called them to do prior. And it wasn't patient, or it sounds like it could have been patience this time. But even if it had just been like, let's do this again, or how about this time you guys come to me, and we'll show you what we're all about. There's got to be something there. You can't just be like shaking hands. This was a great meeting. Okay, well, great. Have a nice day. You want to definitely have something there to build the know, like, and trust.
Exactly. That is a great point. So what's hot is ABC, always be closing, or if you don't like the word close because it brings up used car sales images for you, then always be calling to action.
There we go.
Yeah. Don't skip that close, though. Don't skip that call to action. And if you want to learn more, you can check us out at lb.solutions. Until next time, we will see you later.